I graduated top of my class. Valedictorian. Perfect grades. Years of sacrifice and sleepless nights. My twin sister barely passed her classes, partied through college, and failed multiple courses. So when graduation came, my parents threw her a massive celebration and gifted her a 3-week trip to Europe. All expenses paid, first-class flights, luxury hotels. For me, they handed me a $10 bill. $10. When I stared at them in disbelief, my mother actually said, "You should thank us for raising you right." My father nodded and added that my sister needed the trip more because she'd had such a hard time in school. I felt my world crumbling, but they had no idea what I'd been hiding for months. No idea about the letter in my bag. No idea that in 24 hours, their golden child's European dream would be canceled, and they'd be begging me for help. Sometimes the truth has perfect timing. Standing in my childhood living room, holding a crumpled $10 bill, I felt something inside me break. Not just disappointment, not just hurt. Something deeper. Something that had been cracking for years finally shattered completely. My twin sister Emma squealed in the corner, waving her plane tickets and hotel confirmations like victory flags. Europe, 3 weeks. Paris, Rome, Barcelona, London. My parents beamed at her as if she'd just won a Nobel Prize. Meanwhile, I clutched that $10 bill and tried to remember how to breathe. Let me back up. I need you to understand how we got here. Emma and I are twins, but we've never been the same person. From the moment we could walk, we diverged onto completely different paths. She was the social butterfly, the popular one, the girl everyone wanted to be friends with. I was the quiet one, the bookworm, the girl who spent Friday nights studying instead of partying. Our parents always made excuses for Emma. Always. When she got detention in middle school for talking back to teachers, they blamed the teachers for being too strict. When she failed algebra in 10th grade, they hired an expensive tutor and blamed the curriculum. When she got caught cheating on a history exam, they complained to the principal that the test was too hard. Me? I maintained a 4.0 grade average from freshman year through senior year. I tutored other students. I volunteered at the library. I joined academic clubs and won competitions. And my parents? They expected it. It was just what I did. No praise, no celebration, just expectation. "Well, of course you got an A," my mother would say. "You're naturally smart," as if my success was some genetic lottery win rather than the result of countless hours of work. College was more of the same. Emma chose a party school 3 hours away, known more for its football team than its academics. I got accepted into a prestigious university with a partial scholarship. My parents paid the same amount for both of our educations, even though Emma's tuition was half the cost of mine. When I asked about the difference, my father said they were putting the extra money into savings for emergencies. I worked 2 part-time jobs throughout college to cover my expenses. Emma got a monthly allowance. When I mentioned this seemed unfair, my mother sighed and said, "Your sister has a harder time managing her life. You're so capable. You don't need our help as much. Would you do the same in my place? Would you keep working, keep striving, keep hoping that eventually your efforts would be recognized?" I did, because I believed that results would speak for themselves. I believed that when we both graduated, my parents would finally see the difference between someone who worked hard and someone who coasted through life on excuses and bailouts. Emma changed her major 3 times. She failed multiple classes and had to retake them. Her 4-year degree took 5 years to complete. My parents never complained about the extra tuition. They never suggested she take responsibility for her choices. Instead, they told her to take her time, find herself, explore her options. I graduated in exactly 4 years, summa cum laude. I was selected as valedictorian. I had a job lined up at a respected firm starting 2 months after graduation. I'd won departmental honors and had 2 of my research papers published in academic journals. My graduation was on a Saturday in May. Emma's was the following weekend. My parents decided to do a joint celebration dinner the night before my ceremony. At that dinner, my father raised his glass and said, "We're so proud of both our daughters. They've both worked so hard and overcome so many challenges." I nearly choked on my water. Both worked so hard? Both overcome challenges? But I smiled. I stayed quiet. I told myself that the graduation ceremony itself would be the moment. When they heard my name called as valedictorian, when they heard the dean describe my achievements, when they saw me receive the highest honors the university could bestow, they would understand. The ceremony was beautiful. I walked across that stage knowing I'd earned every accolade, every honor, every recognition. When the dean announced me as valedictorian and listed my accomplishments, I saw other families in the audience applauding enthusiastically, strangers proud of a young woman they'd never met. My parents clapped politely, the same polite applause they'd given every other graduate. After the ceremony, my mother hugged me briefly and said, "That was nice, honey. Now let's get going. We have a long drive, and your father wants to beat the traffic." That was it. That was my recognition. That was nice, honey. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and comment what you would do in this situation. We drove home in silence. Well, not complete silence. My parents discussed Emma's graduation the following weekend, what time they needed to leave, whether they should book a hotel, what restaurant they should go to afterward. I stared out the window and felt invisible. The next morning, I woke up to excited voices downstairs. I came down to find my parents and Emma huddled around the kitchen table, surrounded by papers and printouts, brochures for European hotels, flight itineraries, tour packages. "What's going on?" I asked. My mother looked up with a bright smile. "We're finalizing Emma's graduation present. We're sending her to Europe for 3 weeks. Isn't that wonderful?" I felt my face burning with shame. "Europe? For 3 weeks?" "She deserves it," my father said firmly. "She worked so hard to finish her degree. This is her reward for not giving up. What about my graduation present?" The words came out smaller than I intended. My parents exchanged a look. That look. The one I'd seen 1,000 times growing up. The look that said I was being difficult. "Honey," my mother said in that patient voice she used when explaining obvious things to slow children, "you already have a job lined up. You're all set. Emma needs this trip to decompress and figure out her next steps. She's been under so much pressure." "I've been under pressure too," I said, hating how my voice shook. "I worked 2 jobs. I maintained perfect grades. I was valedictorian." "Exactly," my father said. "You're already successful. You don't need us to reward you for doing what comes naturally to you. Emma struggled more, so she needs more support. That's just being fair." Fair. That word hung in the air like poison.
"So I get nothing?" I asked. My mother sighed. She pulled her wallet out of her purse, withdrew a $10 bill, and held it out to me. "Here, get yourself something nice. A coffee or a treat. Celebrate however you want." I stared at that $10 bill. Emma's European vacation probably cost $8,000. Probably more with all the luxury hotels and first-class flights they were booking. And I got $10. My hands trembled with contained rage as I took the money.
I couldn't even speak. A lump tightened in my throat. "You should thank us," my mother added. "We raised you right. We taught you independence and responsibility. Emma still needs guidance and support. You should be grateful that you're so capable. Do you think I overreacted? Comment below what you would have done differently." I went back to my room and cried. Not gentle tears, ugly, gasping sobs that shook my whole body. Years of being overlooked, dismissed, taken for granted, all came pouring out. I cried until my head pounded and my eyes were swollen. Then I dried my tears, blew my nose, and made a decision. I'd been keeping a secret from my family, a big one, and I'd planned to share it with them that weekend as a celebration. But after the $10 bill and my mother's words about thanking them for raising me right, I decided they didn't deserve to know. Not yet. 3 months earlier, I'd been contacted by a major technology company. They'd seen my research papers and were impressed with my academic record. They'd offered me a position that was significantly above entry level, with a salary that made my jaw drop. But that wasn't all. The position came with a signing bonus, a substantial one, $50,000, to be paid upon acceptance of the offer. I'd accepted immediately. I'd signed the contract, and the money was already sitting in my bank account, earning interest. I hadn't told my parents because I wanted to surprise them. I'd fantasized about taking them out to a nice dinner, announcing my success, maybe even offering to pay back some of what they'd spent on my education. I'd imagined their pride, their joy, their acknowledgement that I'd done something remarkable. Now that money was mine alone. They'd never know about it. Emma's graduation ceremony the following weekend was a circus. My parents invited extended family friends, neighbors. They hosted a huge party at an expensive restaurant. They gave speeches about Emma's perseverance and determination. I sat in the corner, wearing a forced smile, counting the minutes until I could leave. At one point, my aunt pulled me aside. "Congratulations on your valedictorian honor, sweetie," she said warmly. "Your parents must be so proud." "Thank you," I managed. She lowered her voice. Between you and me, I've always admired your work ethic. You've accomplished so much on your own. That takes real character. I almost broke down again. This woman, who I saw maybe twice a year, had noticed what my own parents couldn't see. Leave me in the comments. Have you been through something similar? The days leading up to Emma's trip were insufferable. She talked constantly about her itinerary, the museums she'd visit, the restaurants she'd try, the photos she'd take. My parents helped her shop for travel clothes, bought her new luggage, made sure she had everything she needed. I moved my belongings out of my childhood bedroom and into my new apartment across the city. My parents barely noticed. They were too busy making sure Emma had the right electrical adapters for Europe. My first day at my new job was incredible. The office was modern and filled with brilliant people. My supervisor was impressed with my work from day one. My colleagues treated me with respect and genuine interest in my ideas. It was everything I'd worked for. That evening, I got a call from my mother. "Hi, honey," she said. "Quick question. Emma's flight leaves tomorrow morning, and we're a bit short on cash. Could you lend us $500? We'll pay you back next month." I felt my blood boiling with indignation. "Why do you need $500? Emma needs more spending money. We didn't budget enough for meals and entertainment. You know how expensive Europe is. Where's the money you were saving? The difference between Emma's tuition and mine?" Silence. Then, "We used that for the trip deposit. Come on, honey. It's just $500. You have a job now. You can afford it." "No," I said. No, I can't lend you $500. I have my own expenses. I just moved into a new apartment. I have bills." My mother's voice turned cold. "I see. Well, I suppose we know where we stand now. Your own sister going without because you can't help your family." She hung up. I stared at my phone, shaking. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my new apartment's balcony, looking out at the city lights. They had no idea I had $50,000 in my bank account. They had no idea I could have funded Emma's entire trip without blinking. And I wasn't going to tell them. Give it a thumbs up if you think I did the right thing. Emma left for Europe the next morning. My parents posted constant updates on social media. Emma at the Eiffel Tower, Emma at the Colosseum, Emma eating gelato in Rome, Emma sipping wine at a Barcelona cafe. The comments were always the same. "What a wonderful graduation present! Such generous parents. She deserves this." Nobody mentioned me. Nobody asked about the valedictorian who'd graduated the week before Emma. I was erased from the narrative completely. I threw myself into my work. I was good at my job, really good. My supervisor started giving me more complex projects. I impressed clients. I received praise from senior partners. For the first time in my life, I felt truly valued for my accomplishments. 2 weeks into Emma's trip, my phone rang at 11 o'clock at night. My father. "We have a situation," he said without preamble. "Emma lost her wallet in Barcelona. All her money, her credit cards, everything. She's stranded at the hotel with 2 days left on her trip and no way to pay." "That's unfortunate," I said calmly. "We need to wire her money immediately. The hotel is threatening to call the police if she can't settle her bill. But our bank can't process an international wire transfer until Monday, and she needs the money now. Why are you calling me? You need to help your sister. Wire her $2,000 tonight. We'll pay you back on Monday when the bank opens." $2,000. To bail out my sister who was on an $8,000 vacation I'd been deemed too capable to deserve. "No," I said. "What do you mean, no? Your sister is in trouble. She's in trouble because she was careless with her belongings. That's not my responsibility. How can you be so selfish?" My father's voice rose. "This is your twin sister. Family helps family." A cold fury settled over me. Family helps family? Where was that philosophy when you handed me $10 for graduating valedictorian? Where was that philosophy every time Emma got bailed out of her mistakes while I had to handle everything on my own? That's different. You've always been fine. You don't need help. Everyone needs help sometimes, Dad. Everyone needs to feel valued and appreciated. But I've never gotten that from you and Mom. So no, I'm not wiring Emma $2,000. You'll figure it out on Monday like you said. You're going to regret this, he said coldly. When you need something from this family, remember this moment. He hung up. I didn't sleep well that night. Not because I felt guilty, because I felt liberated. For the first time in my life, I'd set a boundary with my parents and stuck to it. The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls and 34 text messages. My parents, Emma, even some extended family members. The messages ranged from pleading to angry to manipulative. "How can you do this to your sister? We're so disappointed in you. Family is supposed to stick together. Your sister is crying and scared." I blocked all of them and went to work. That evening, my supervisor called me into her office. "I wanted to let you know that you're doing exceptional work," she said. "We're very impressed with how quickly you've adapted. I'm recommending you for a special project that typically only goes to employees with several years of experience." I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I held them back. "Thank you. That means a lot." "You've earned it," she said simply. "Earned it. Not naturally talented, not lucky. Earned it." Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories like this. On Monday, my parents managed to wire Emma the money. She paid her hotel bill and finished her trip. When she returned home, the social media posts continued. What an amazing experience. So grateful to her wonderful parents. Best graduation gift ever. I unfollowed all of them. For 3 months, I had zero contact with my family. They didn't reach out except for one email from my mother saying they were hurt by my behavior and would be willing to discuss my attitude when I was ready to apologize. I deleted it without responding. My life improved dramatically. Work was fulfilling. I made new friends. I dated. I explored the city. Without the constant weight of being undervalued by my family, I felt lighter, happier, more confident. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon in late November, I received a call from my aunt, the one who'd congratulated me at Emma's graduation party. "I'm sorry to bother you," she said hesitantly, "but I thought you should know what's happening with your parents." "What's happening?" "They're in serious financial trouble. Your father made some very bad investments and they've lost a significant amount of money. They're at risk of losing the house. Emma is living with them because she can't find a job, so she's another expense they can't afford. They're too proud to ask for help, but I think they're desperate. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only one in that family with any sense. And despite everything, they're still your parents. I thought you deserved to know." I thanked her and ended the call. Then I sat in my office, staring at the city skyline, thinking. Part of me wanted to let them sink. They'd made their choices. They'd prioritized Emma over me for decades. They'd dismissed my accomplishments and treated me like I was less deserving of love and celebration simply because I was capable. But another part of me, the part that had been raised to be responsible and independent, couldn't completely ignore their situation. I decided to wait, to see if they would reach out, to see if they would finally acknowledge that they needed me. 2 weeks later, my mother called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hello?" I said. "Hi, honey." Her voice was strained. "How are you?" "I'm well. You?" A long pause. Then, "We're fine. Just fine. Listen, I was wondering if you'd like to come for Thanksgiving dinner. We'd love to see you." Thanksgiving was 3 days away. This was clearly a last-minute invitation. "Why now?" I asked. "You haven't spoken to me in months except to tell me you're disappointed in my attitude. Can't a mother want to see her daughter for the holidays?" "A mother can, but I'm curious about the timing." Another pause. "Your father and I have been discussing things. We realize we may have been too harsh about the Emma situation. We'd like to move past it. Move past it. Not apologize. Not acknowledge they were wrong. Just move past it." "I'll think about it," I said. "Please come," my mother said. And for the first time, I heard something that might have been genuine desperation in her voice. "It would mean a lot to your father and me, and Emma would love to see you." I doubted that last part, but I agreed to come, mostly because I wanted to see the situation for myself. Comment if you know someone like this. Was I wrong to feel this way? Thanksgiving at my childhood home was surreal. The house looked the same, but there was a tension in the air that hadn't been there before. My father looked older, more tired. My mother was overly cheerful in a way that felt forced. Emma was there, wearing pajamas at 2 in the afternoon, looking sullen. Dinner was awkward. Everyone made small talk about nothing important. The food was good, but the atmosphere was strained. I could barely breathe through my humiliation at being back in this house after everything. After dinner, my father suggested we talk in his office. My mother and Emma came too. All 3 of them sat down and looked at me with expressions ranging from uncomfortable to resentful. "We need to discuss something as a family," my father began. Here it was, the real reason for the invitation. "We're going through a difficult financial period," he continued. "I made some investments that didn't pan out. We're in a position where we need to make some changes. cut some expenses, possibly downsize the house. I waited. I knew there was more coming. Emma is having trouble finding work in her field, my mother added. So she's living here temporarily, which is fine, of course, but it adds to our expenses. Still, I waited. My father cleared his throat. The thing is, we know you're doing well at your job. You were always the responsible one, the one who landed on her feet. And we were hoping you might be willing to help the family through this rough patch. Help how? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Financially, my mother said quickly. Just for a few months, maybe $1,000 a month to help with the mortgage and bills. Just until your father sorts out the investment situation and Emma finds a job. $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, to support the family that had given me $10 for graduating valedictorian. Why would I do that? I asked. They looked shocked by the question. Because we're family, Emma said, speaking for the first time. Because family helps each other. I turned to her slowly. Really? Tell me, Emma, when have you helped me? She blinked. What? When have you helped me? When I was working 2 jobs in college while you got an allowance. When I was studying for finals while you were partying. When I graduated valedictorian and you got an $8,000 trip to Europe while I got $10. When was I supposed to feel this family support you're talking about? That's not fair, my mother said. You didn't need help. You were always fine on your own. Everyone needs help, I said, echoing my earlier words to my father. Everyone needs to feel valued. But I was never valued in this family. I was taken for granted. My accomplishments were dismissed as natural talent. My hard work was invisible. And when Emma messed up, which was constantly, you threw money at her problems and called it love. We did our best, my father said defensively. We treated you both fairly. I almost laughed. Fairly. You funded a luxury vacation for the daughter who barely graduated and gave $10 to the one who graduated top of her class. You expected me to loan you money for Emma's European spending spree, but never once offered to help me with anything. That's not fair. That's not even close to fair. So you're saying no, my mother said flatly. You're going to let your family lose their home because you're bitter about a graduation present. No, I said. I'm saying no because you've never treated me like I mattered. And you're not asking because you value me. You're asking because you need something from me. There's a difference. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and comment what you would do in this situation. Emma stood up abruptly. I can't believe how selfish you've become. We're family. You're supposed to help us. Sit down, Emma, I said quietly. Something in my tone made her sit. Let me tell you what's really happening here, I continued. You're not asking me to help because I'm family. You're asking because you're desperate and I'm your last option. If you'd won the lottery or Dad's investments had paid off, I'd still be the overlooked daughter who doesn't need anything because she's naturally capable. But now that you need something, suddenly family matters. That's not true, my mother protested weakly. It is true. And here's what else is true. I could help you. I absolutely could. I'm doing very well at my job. Better than you know. But I'm not going to. Not because I'm selfish. Not because I don't care about family. But because you need to understand that actions have consequences. Choices matter. And you chose, for my entire life, to prioritize Emma's wants over my needs. You chose to celebrate her mediocrity and dismiss my excellence. You chose to bail her out of every mistake while expecting me to handle everything alone. Those were your choices, and these are the consequences. My father's face turned red. You have no idea what we've sacrificed for you girls. You're right, I said. I don't know what you sacrificed for Emma. You sacrificed plenty. But for me? The only thing I know is that you sacrificed our relationship for the sake of enabling your favorite daughter. We don't have a favorite, my mother cried. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I'd prepared for this moment. I'd known this confrontation was coming. Let me show you something, I said. I opened my photo gallery and pulled up screenshots I'd taken over the years. This is Emma's 18th birthday party. You spent $5,000. Here's mine. We went to a chain restaurant and you asked me to split the bill. This is Emma's car. You bought it for her 16th birthday. Here's mine. Oh, wait. I don't have one because I had to save up and buy my own car when I was 19. I swiped through more images. Emma's college graduation party. You invited 60 people and rented a venue. My college graduation party. Oh, wait, there wasn't one. Just that joint dinner where you spent the whole time discussing Emma's ceremony the following week. My parents stared at the phone, speechless. I have years of documentation, I continued. Years of proof that you treated us differently, that you gave Emma every advantage and me every expectation. So don't tell me you don't have a favorite. Don't insult my intelligence by pretending this was ever equal. Would you do the same in my place? How would you act in this situation? Emma was crying now, not the pretty, delicate tears she used when she wanted sympathy. Ugly, frustrated tears. This isn't about money, I said quietly. This is about respect and recognition and basic fairness. And you've never given me any of those things. So no, I won't be funding your mortgage. No, I won't be bailing you out of Dad's bad investments. No, I won't be supporting Emma while she figures out her next steps. You're all adults. Figure it out yourselves. I stood up to leave. Wait, my father said desperately. Please, just wait. I paused at the door. What do you want? He asked. What would it take for you to help us? An apology would be a start, I said. A real one. An acknowledgement of how you've treated me. An admission that you were wrong. And even then, I'm not promising anything. My mother's face hardened. We're not going to apologize for loving both our daughters equally. Then we have nothing more to discuss, I said. I walked out. As I reached my car, I heard footsteps behind me. Emma, you're really going to let them lose the house? She asked. I turned to face her. Did you know that when I graduated valedictorian, I felt nothing but sadness? Because my own family didn't care. Did you know that I cried myself to sleep the night you got your Europe trip and I got $10? Did you know that I felt invisible my entire life? She looked away. It wasn't my fault that they treated you differently. No, I agreed. It wasn't your fault, but you benefited from it. You took everything they gave you and never once questioned whether it was fair. You never stood up for me. You never said, hey, maybe my sister deserves recognition too. You just took and took and took, and now you're upset that I'm not giving. So this is revenge, she said bitterly. No, I said. This is self-preservation. This is boundaries. This is me finally valuing myself since nobody else in this family will. I got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw Emma standing in the driveway, looking small and lost. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The next day, I received an email from my father. A long, rambling message that attempted to justify their treatment of me while simultaneously asking for money. It was full of phrases like, "You're being unreasonable," and "We did the best we could," and "You're tearing this family apart." I deleted it without finishing it. Over the next few weeks, the messages continued. Some pleading, some angry, some attempting to guilt me. My mother sent a message saying they might have to move in with relatives. Emma sent one saying I was ruining her life. My father sent one threatening to cut me out of his will. I blocked them all. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories like this. In January, my aunt called again. They sold the house, she told me. They're moving into a small apartment. Emma got a job finally. Retail. Not what she wanted, but it's something. Your parents are, well, they're surviving. They're angry with you, but they're surviving. Good, I said. Are you really okay with this? My aunt asked gently. I'm not judging. I just want to make sure you're at peace with your decision. I am, I said. For the first time in my life, I'm setting boundaries and prioritizing my own well-being. That's not selfish. That's healthy. You're right, she said. I'm proud of you, you know. I know your parents aren't, but I am. Those words meant more to me than she could possibly know. At work, I continued to excel. In February, I was promoted. Significant raise. More responsibility. My supervisor told me I was being fast-tracked for a leadership position. You have something special, she said. You work hard, but more than that, you value yourself. You know your worth. That's rare, and it's incredibly valuable. If she only knew how recently I'd learned that lesson. In March, I received a letter in the mail. From my mother. A real handwritten letter. I almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity won again. The letter was 3 pages long. For the first page, it was more of the same. Justifications, excuses, explanations for why they'd treated me the way they had. I almost stopped reading, but the second page was different. I've had a lot of time to think, my mother wrote, about how we raised you girls, about the choices we made, about the things we said and did. Your father and I always told ourselves we were being fair, that we were helping Emma because she needed more help, that you were fine because you were capable, but you were right. We took you for granted. We assumed you didn't need love and recognition because you were successful. We failed to understand that everyone needs to feel valued, no matter how capable they are. We failed you, and I'm sorry. I read those lines 3 times. We failed you, and I'm sorry. The 3rd page continued. I'm not asking you to forgive us. I'm not asking you to help us financially. I'm not even asking you to have a relationship with us if you don't want to. I'm just asking you to know that I see now what we did wrong. I see how we hurt you, and I'm genuinely, truly sorry. You deserved better parents. You deserved to be celebrated and cherished and recognized. You deserved more than $10 for graduating valedictorian. You deserved more than being invisible. I can't change the past, but I wanted you to know that I understand now, and I'm sorry. I sat on my couch holding that letter and cried, not sad tears, releasing tears, years of hurt and anger and resentment flowing out of me. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't everything I needed, but it was something. It was acknowledgement. It was the first time my mother had truly seen me. I didn't respond to the letter immediately. I needed time to process it, to decide what, if anything, I wanted to do with this information. 2 weeks later, I invited my parents to coffee. Just the 2 of them. Not Emma. They came. They looked older, more worn. But when they saw me, they both teared up. Thank you for agreeing to meet us, my father said. We sat in a corner booth. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Finally, my mother said, I meant what I wrote in the letter. Every word. We were wrong. We treated you unfairly for your entire life. We have no excuse for that. We thought we were being good parents, my father added. We thought helping Emma more was the right thing to do because she struggled more. But we didn't see that we were neglecting you in the process. We didn't see that you needed us too. I did need you, I said quietly. I needed you to be proud of me, to celebrate my accomplishments, to value my hard work. I needed to feel like I mattered to you as much as Emma did. You do matter, my mother said urgently. You always mattered. We just did a terrible job of showing it. The $10, I said. Do you understand how that felt? To work my entire life for perfect grades, to be named valedictorian, to earn every possible honor, and to receive $10 while Emma got $8,000 for barely graduating? My father closed his eyes. We understand now. At the time, we genuinely believed we were being fair. Emma was struggling, so we thought she needed the boost. You were succeeding, so we thought you didn't need anything from us. We were idiots. We were blind. We were wrong. Why did it take losing your house for you to see this? I asked. My parents looked at each other. My mother answered, because when we had everything, we could maintain our delusions. We could tell ourselves we were good parents, that everything was fine. But when we lost everything and you weren't there to save us, we had to face the truth. We had to look at the choices we'd made and the relationship we'd destroyed. We had to see ourselves clearly, and what we saw wasn't pretty. Leave me in the comments. Have you been through something similar? I'm not sure I can forgive you, I said honestly. Not yet, maybe not ever completely. You hurt me deeply, for years. You made me feel worthless and invisible. You can't erase that with one letter and one coffee meeting. We know, my father said. We're not asking for instant forgiveness. We're tentar novamente. Continue or just asking for a chance to do better, a chance to show you that we finally understand. I took a deep breath. I need you to understand something. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I'm not going to accept scraps of attention and be grateful for it. I'm not going to make myself small so Emma can feel big. I'm not going to sacrifice my well-being for this family's comfort. I have boundaries now, and I'm keeping them. We understand, my mother said, and we respect that. We want you to have boundaries. We want you to value yourself, even if it means keeping us at a distance. What about Emma? I asked. Does she understand any of this? My parents exchanged another look. Emma is on her own journey, my father said carefully. She's working her retail job. She's starting to understand what it means to actually earn things instead of having them handed to her. It's been hard for her, but it's been necessary. She asked about you, my mother added. She wanted to come today, but we told her this conversation needed to be just us. She says she wants to talk to you when you're ready. She says she has things she needs to say. I wasn't sure I was ready to hear what Emma had to say, but I nodded. Maybe eventually. We talked for another hour, not about money, not about what I could do for them, just about the past, about specific moments and memories, about how they'd failed me, and how deeply they regretted it. When we stood to leave, my mother hugged me. A real hug. Long and tight and desperate. "I love you," she whispered. "I know I didn't show it properly. I know I failed to make you feel loved. But I do love you. So much. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished, and I'm sorry I never told you that before." I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I held them back. "I love you too, Mom. That's why this hurts so much." We agreed to meet again in a few weeks. Small steps. Rebuilding slowly. No promises. No expectations. Just an opportunity to try. As I drove home, I felt something shift inside me. Not complete healing. Not total forgiveness. But a small opening. A tiny space where reconciliation might be possible. At work the next day, I received news that made everything else fade into the background. The special project I'd been working on had exceeded all expectations. The client was thrilled, the senior partners were impressed, and I was being offered a significant promotion with a substantial raise. "You've proven yourself to be one of the most talented people we've ever hired," the CEO told me in his office. "We want to invest in your future with this company. We see you in leadership. We see you making a major impact. This promotion is just the beginning." I accepted on the spot. When I left his office, I stood in the hallway for a moment, letting it sink in. 2 years out of college, and I was already climbing the ladder. Not because of luck, not because of natural talent, because I'd worked hard, because I'd valued myself, because I'd refused to settle for less than I deserved. That evening, I did something I hadn't planned to do. I called my parents. "I got a promotion today," I told them. "A big one." "Oh, honey, that's wonderful," my mother said, and for the first time in my life, she sounded genuinely thrilled about my success. "Tell us everything." I told them about the project, the client, the praise from the CEO. My father got on the other line, and both of them listened with real interest, asking questions, celebrating my achievement. "We should take you out to dinner to celebrate," my father said. "Our treat. A real celebration. The kind you should have gotten for your graduation." "I'd like that," I said. "Give it a thumbs up if you think I did the right thing." We made plans for the following weekend. A nice restaurant. Just the three of us. When we hung up, I sat on my couch feeling something I hadn't felt in years when it came to my family. Hope. The dinner was good. Not perfect. There were awkward moments. Painful topics we skirted around. But my parents asked about my job, my apartment, my life. They listened when I talked. They celebrated my success. They treated me like I mattered. At the end of the meal, my father pulled out his wallet to pay. Then he paused and looked at me. "I know this doesn't make up for the $10, he said quietly. "I know nothing can make up for that. But I want you to know that if I could go back and do it differently, I would spend $10,000 celebrating your graduation. You earned that celebration. You earned recognition and pride and joy. And I'm sorry we didn't give it to you." I had to look away to keep from crying. Over the next few months, we continued to rebuild. Slowly, carefully. My parents proved through consistent actions that they were trying to change. They called regularly just to check in. They attended a work event when I received an award. They sent me articles about topics I was interested in. Small things, but meaningful things. In June, Emma called me. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hi," she said nervously. "I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I was hoping we could meet, just for coffee. I have some things I need to say, and I'd like to say them to your face." I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. We met at a coffee shop near my office. Emma looked different. Less polished, more tired, more real. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as we sat down. "I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't," I admitted. She nodded. "I wouldn't have either, if I were you. I've been a terrible sister." I didn't disagree. "I've spent the last 6 months working retail," she continued. "Minimum wage, rude customers, standing on my feet for 8 hours a day. And you know what I realized? This is what you did in college. You worked jobs like this while going to school full-time and maintaining perfect grades, and I was partying and failing classes while mom and dad paid for everything." "Yes," I said simply. "I was so jealous of you," she said quietly. "My whole life, you were the smart one, the capable one, the one everyone admired. I couldn't compete with that, so I didn't try. I just took everything mom and dad gave me and told myself I deserved it, because life was harder for me." "It wasn't harder for you," I said. "You just didn't try as hard." "I know that now," she said. "But I didn't know it then. Or I didn't want to know it. I let mom and dad enable me because it was easier than actually working for things. And I let them treat you like you didn't need anything because it benefited me. She looked down at her coffee cup. The Europe trip. I knew it wasn't fair. When mom handed you that $10 bill, I saw your face. I saw how much it hurt you. And I didn't say anything. I just took my trip and told myself you were fine because you were always fine. I wasn't fine, I said. I know that now. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all of it. For taking everything and giving nothing. For never standing up for you. For being a spoiled, selfish brat who didn't appreciate her brilliant, hard-working sister. I studied her face. She looked sincere, genuinely remorseful. Why now? I asked. Why apologize now? Because I finally understand what you were trying to tell us. When you refused to help with the money, I thought you were being cruel, but you were setting boundaries. You were demanding to be treated with respect, and you were right to do it. If you just handed over the money, nothing would have changed. We would have taken from you the same way we always had, and we never would have learned anything. She took a shaky breath. Losing the house was the best thing that ever happened to our family. It forced all of us to face reality. Mom and Dad had to see how badly they'd failed you. I had to learn how to actually work for things. We all had to grow up, and none of that would have happened if you'd saved us. Comment below what you would have done differently. I'm not proud of who I was, Emma continued. I wasted so many opportunities. I took advantage of Mom and Dad's generosity. I never appreciated what I had. And I treated you like you were just supposed to handle everything because that's what you did. I'm trying to be better now. I'm trying to actually earn things and take responsibility for my life. But I wanted you to know that I see what you did. And I'm grateful for it even though it hurt at the time. What are you doing now? I asked. Besides retail. I'm taking online courses, she said. Business management. I figure if I'm going to work retail, I might as well learn how to run a store eventually. Maybe work my way up to management. It's not glamorous, but it's real. It's something I'm actually earning. That's good, I said, and I meant it. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Emma said. I'm not asking us to be close again. I just wanted you to know that I understand now, and I'm sorry for everything. We talked for another hour, not like sisters exactly, more like acquaintances who were trying to understand each other. It wasn't warm and fuzzy, it wasn't a tearful reconciliation, but it was honest, and that was more valuable than false sweetness. When we parted ways, Emma hugged me briefly. I hope someday we can have a real relationship, she said. The kind where I actually show up for you the way a sister should. But I know that's going to take time, and I know I have to earn it. Yes, I agreed. You do. As I watched her walk away, I felt something unexpected. Not forgiveness exactly, but a softening. A willingness to consider that people could change, that families could heal, even after deep wounds. Over the summer, my relationship with my parents continued to improve. They were consistent. They showed up. They valued me. They celebrated my successes and supported me through challenges. They were becoming the parents I'd always needed. Emma and I texted occasionally. Brief exchanges. She'd tell me about her courses or a difficult customer at work. I'd share updates about my job or my life. It wasn't deep, but it was something. A foundation we could maybe build on eventually. In September, I received another promotion. I was now the youngest person at my level in the company's history. The achievement was significant, and the celebration was even more so. My parents came to the company dinner where I received the award. They sat at my table, beaming with pride, telling anyone who would listen about their daughter's accomplishments. My mother cried when the CEO gave his speech about my contributions. My father shook my hand with genuine respect. After the dinner, as we stood outside the venue, my mother pulled me aside. I need to tell you something, she said. When you graduated valedictorian, I felt proud. I did. But I didn't show it because I'd convinced myself you didn't need that from me. I'd convinced myself that you were so capable that external validation didn't matter to you. I was wrong. Everyone needs validation. Everyone needs to feel seen and valued. And I robbed you of that for years because I was too blind to see what I was doing. She took my hands in hers. But tonight, watching you accept that award, watching you be recognized for your incredible work, I felt something different. I felt grateful. Grateful that you survived our failures as parents. Grateful that you became this amazing woman despite us, not because of us. Grateful that you're giving us another chance to do better. I'm grateful too, I said honestly. I'm grateful that you finally see me. That's all I ever wanted. My father joined us. "We have something for you," he said. He pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. "What is this?" I asked. "Open it," my mother said. Inside was a check, made out to me, for $10,000. "It's not about the money," my father said quickly. "We know you don't need the money, but we wanted to give you what you should have received for graduating valedictorian. This is your graduation present, 2 years late but heartfelt." I stared at the check. $10,000. $1,000 for every dollar of the original $10 bill. "We can't change the past," my mother said. "We can't undo the hurt we caused, but we can acknowledge it. We can show you through our actions that we understand what we did wrong. This is part of that. This is us saying, you deserve to be celebrated. You deserved recognition. You deserved so much more than we gave you." I folded the check carefully and put it back in the envelope. "Thank you," I said. "This means more than you know." We stood together in the evening air, 3 people who'd hurt each other and were learning how to heal. It wasn't perfect. We had a long way to go, but we were moving in the right direction. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and comment what you would do in this situation. That night, alone in my apartment, I looked at that check for a long time. $10,000. But it wasn't about the money. It was about what the money represented. Acknowledgement, recognition, value. I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago, standing in my childhood living room with a crumpled $10 bill, feeling broken and invisible. I thought about the decision I'd made that day to keep my signing bonus secret, to set boundaries, to value myself even when my family wouldn't. That decision had changed everything. It had forced my family to face their failures. It had given me the space to build a life where I was valued and respected. It had taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable dysfunction. I deposited the check the next day. Then I did something I'd been thinking about for months. I started a scholarship fund for students from families who overlooked their achievements, students who worked hard, earned top grades, and never received the recognition they deserved. Students like the woman I used to be. I used the $10,000 check from my parents as the seed money. Then I added my own contribution, $50,000. The entire signing bonus I'd kept secret during that painful time. The scholarship would be awarded annually to a graduating valedictorian from an underprivileged background. Full tuition for 4 years. No strings attached, just recognition, just celebration, just a message that said, you matter, your hard work matters, your achievements deserve to be honored. When I told my parents about the scholarship, my mother cried. Again, but these were different tears. Proud tears. "You turned our failure into something beautiful," she said. "You took the pain we caused and created something that will help other students avoid that same pain. That's extraordinary." "That's who you've always been," my father added. "You take challenges and turn them into opportunities. You take hurt and transform it into healing. We should have seen that years ago. We should have celebrated that about you every single day." Emma, when she heard about the scholarship, sent me a text. "This is amazing. This is the kind of person you are, the kind of person I want to become. Thank you for showing me what it looks like to turn pain into purpose." The first scholarship was awarded the following spring. A young woman named Maria who'd graduated valedictorian despite working 2 jobs and helping raise her younger siblings. She had a full ride to a prestigious university now, funded by the scholarship that bore my name. At the award ceremony, I gave a short speech. I told my story. Not all of it, not the painful details, but the essence. I talked about feeling invisible despite achievements, about learning to value yourself, about setting boundaries, about how sometimes love means refusing to enable, about how pain can become purpose if you choose to transform it. Maria hugged me afterward. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing people like me. Thank you for making us feel like we matter." "You do matter," I told her. "Never forget that. No matter what anyone else says or does, your hard work and achievements matter. Value yourself. Always." My parents were at the ceremony. They sat in the back, watching. When it was over, they came up to me. "We're so proud of you," my mother said. "Not just for your career success, not just for this scholarship, but for who you are, for your strength and your integrity, and your ability to create good things from difficult experiences. You're remarkable, and we're sorry it took us so long to tell you that." Looking back now, 2 years after that day with the $10 bill, I can see how everything changed, how that moment of hurt became a catalyst for transformation, not just for me, but for my entire family. My parents learned to see their children as individuals with different needs, rather than making assumptions based on capability. They learned that everyone deserves recognition and celebration, regardless of how naturally things come to them. Emma learned the value of work and earned achievement. She's a store manager now, working her way toward owning her own business. She calls me sometimes for advice. We're not as close as some sisters, but we're building something real, something based on mutual respect rather than unexamined dynamics. And me? I learned that valuing yourself isn't selfish, that setting boundaries isn't cruel, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say no, that you can love your family and still refuse to accept treatment that diminishes you. I learned that your worth isn't determined by whether others recognize it. It exists independently. Your achievements matter whether anyone celebrates them or not. Your hard work has value whether anyone acknowledges it or not. You matter, even when you feel invisible. Would you do the same in my place? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The $10 bill is still in my desk drawer. I kept it, not as a reminder of pain, but as a reminder of transformation. A reminder of the day I decided I was worth more than that, the day I chose myself. Sometimes people ask me if I regret the months of estrangement from my family, if I regret refusing to help them when they were struggling, if I regret the hard line I drew. I don't, not for a second, because that hard line saved us all. It forced growth that never would have happened otherwise. It created space for real change. It allowed us to rebuild on a foundation of respect and genuine love, rather than enabling and taking for granted. My family is better now. Not perfect. We still have moments of tension. We still slip into old patterns sometimes. But we're aware now. We course correct. We communicate. We value each other in real, tangible ways. And I'm better, stronger, more confident, more certain of my worth. I know now that I don't need anyone's permission to value myself. I don't need anyone's acknowledgement to know that my achievements matter. I am enough, all on my own. But it's nice, finally, to have a family that sees that too. The scholarship fund is growing. More students every year. More young people who worked hard and achieved great things getting the recognition they deserve. Every time I award another scholarship, I think about that woman I was 2 years ago. The one holding a $10 bill and feeling worthless. I wish I could go back and tell her, "You're not worthless. You're extraordinary. And someday, everyone else will see it too. But more importantly, you'll see it yourself. And that's what matters most." To anyone reading this who feels overlooked, undervalued, invisible, you're not. Your achievements matter. Your hard work matters. You matter. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Value yourself. Set boundaries. Demand respect. And never ever settle for $10 when you've earned $10,000. Because here's what I learned. People will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you accept crumbs, they'll keep giving you crumbs. But if you stand up and say, "I deserve more than this," you force them to either step up or step back. Either way, you win. Either you get better treatment, or you get freedom from people who don't value you. Both are gifts. My life now is everything I worked for and more. A career I love. A family that values me. Relationships built on respect and genuine care. A sense of purpose that extends beyond myself to helping others. And most importantly, a deep, unshakable knowledge of my own worth. That knowledge started the day I said no. The day I refused to fund my family's mistakes. The day I chose self-respect over being the good daughter who gave and never asked for anything in return. It was the hardest decision I've ever made. And it was the best decision I've ever made. So to anyone facing a similar situation, you're not obligated to light yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're not selfish for having boundaries. You're not cruel for demanding to be treated with dignity. You're human, and you deserve to be valued. Stand up for yourself, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because you're worth it. You've always been worth it, and someday everyone else will know it too, but you have to know it first. Never underestimate anyone based on their quiet strength or their independent capability. The people who seem like they don't need support are often the ones who need it most, precisely because everyone assumes they're fine. Check on your capable friends. Celebrate your independent family members. Acknowledge the people who always handle things on their own. Because everyone needs to feel valued. Everyone needs recognition. Everyone deserves celebration. Even the ones who graduated top of their class. Especially the ones who graduated top of their class.